Ever since I started doing this, people have been asking me to do this exact top 10 list. So, that day has come. You're welcome. When you look at a top sexy animated female character list, and there are quite a few of those floating around the internets, Jessica Rabbit usually tops that list, and gee, I wonder why. It's obviously because she's one of the most subtle and nuanced animated characters in a mainstream film. What? I'm dead serious. Jessica Rabbit's a really interesting character. I really like the weird sense her relationship to Roger makes, how she meshes with the film noir murder mystery narrative. But when I took a poll on Twitter, asking in exact words to describe Jessica Rabbit's character, and I didn't even say personality because I thought that would be too leading, and even then most of the answers were... And there are a lot more top 10 animated babes lists floating around the internet than for their male counterparts. Whereas with a list made by guys, for guys, consensus could probably be brought up a lot more easily with stuff like this, or even this, weirdos. And while I know that there are exceptions to any generalization, please feel free not to point that out, the fact remains that women are in general attracted to different facets in men than men might be to women, especially when it comes to fictional characters. Women are usually a little bit more type-oriented. They're more character-oriented. So with that in mind, I wasn't very interested in me doing a list that was just me and my weird tastes. Besides, with animated guys, I honestly don't care. I like men. Real men. Sun-kissed skin so hot, well, I can pop some. And the show really isn't about me, or, well, it is about me, but really it's about us. So how could I possibly draw up some sort of consensus about what women in general find sexy in animated guys? Well, I could ask. So I took a poll. I asked the ladies on my Twitter and Facebook page who, to you, was your sexiest nostalgic animated character. Between 1985 and 2002, which were my arbitrary dates, and since everybody picked more than one character, I picked the first one that they listed, and that was how I did it and quantify it. So, if you want to know what women want in animated guys, here it is, the democratically elected top 10 hottest animated guys. Let's go. It's raining men! Hallelujah, it's raining men! Amen! I'm gonna go. Number 10. You had plenty money, 1922. As mentioned before, men are more apt to be drawn to certain characteristics in their animated ladies. Women, at least the ones I polled, I think they like a project. So first, let's take a look at some guys that number 10 beat out. Get out of here. Yeah, almost nobody voted for Dean from the Iron Giant. I don't get you people.
Hey!
Yeah?
You're right in the middle of the road!
Yeah?
Alright.
The guy at number 10 was considered hotter than all of these, with no leading from me, by you, the viewer. I'm a little worried about you guys.
Like fire! Hellfire!
I understand that women are more likely to forgive looks in favor of a personality they're attracted to. This might explain why the whole fat moron with the hot wife archetype is still tolerated in every comedy series on TV ever. Now that said, this kind of makes sense. Frollo might be the most overtly sexual Disney character, period, and yet he's even more squeamish about sex than girls are taught to be, so he's kind of relatable. He's tortured by his physical desires. We like tortured, I guess, even if it's attached to a decrepit old man with a gaunt French nose. Also, he kills people. He's a bad boy.
Choose me or the fire.
I bet that 70-year-old withered body is buff under those billowing judge robes. Maybe it has to do with this scene.
You know, my last captain of the guard was a bit of a disappointment to me.
Speaking as the sexually repressed Catholic, all I can say is you don't channel your sexual repression into an urge to destroy. Yes, he is a compelling character, but I'm a little disturbed by fans' interpretation that if he just got his freak on, it would make him less of a genocidal old bastard. but this is why it's a sexual fantasy. It's raining men! Hallelujah!
Number 9. Number 9 is a tie. Sexy lady characters may not always have the strongest of personalities. On this list, you're more likely to find really strong personalities for young girls to fantasize about and write fanfics about. You know, tortured souls. Now, I say usually. Take these two. Tortured soul filled with anguish. And a nice guy, I guess.
What? Goliath is tied with Eric?
Hey, you're not dressed in your, vampire shit for once.
What vampire shit? Goliath, strong and heroic and motivated by a noble cause. Also, Goliath is stoic and serious and brainy.
You and your stoic is a major plus.
Goliath has a tortured past. Goliath will protect you and take care of you and be devoted to you forever, no matter what courses your relationships will take. Plus, what's a sexier date? A boat ride in a lagoon or being flown above the clouds in Goliath's manly arms? But the big cincher? Goliath's voice. I mean, just the way he says, Elisa. Name me a sexier voice. Just try.
Okay. Point. Yes. Counterpoint, Prince Eric.
He's a prince, with a, he's got the seaside kingdom, and he's nice, and he believes in true love, and, he's got the dog.
Goliath has a dog too.
Really, Prince Eric is kind of the anomaly on this list, as he's not really got that strong, tortured personality like most of the other guys with the inner demons and the tragic backstory. He's got a dog, though. You like him big and stoic and manly and tortured? Number 9, Goliath. Like him normal? Number 9, Prince Eric. He puts the Eric in generic.
It's raining men! Hallelujah!
Number 8. There are a lot of boys on this list, especially in the top 5. But what we have here is a man. A Batman. So much a man that I wonder if Batman was elected on this list because he became retroactively sexy to people in our age group as an adult by the dark nature of the show and new re-exposure through the Christopher Nolan movies. Also, tragic backstory, brooding, stoic, yada yada yada.
Oh my god, stoic. I love stoic. Of course, Batman's not as stoic as Goliath or as masculine. He should have been way higher on the list, but still stoic and brooding and manly.
While he does have a strong jaw, that Batman, the real draw is that tortured backstory, his obsessive drive for justice, not to mention that fun dual persona thing, billionaire playboy by day, dark crusader by night.
You and your little boys. Batman is a man. A man.
It's raining men! Hallelujah!
Number 7.
Hey, Daria.
Can't speak. Must speak.
Hey. I think of all of the guys on this list, Trent Lane is probably the most like a guy you might have actually known. He's in a band, but they're thinking of changing the name. And if inaccessibility is hot to girls, well, Trent was the most inaccessible of them all, probably because he didn't seem to have all that many thoughts to excess. And the fact that he's attractive to Daria, who, like so many of us, doesn't admit to having human emotions, probably matters a lot. That said, musicians you actually know have a way of lowering your standards.
We'll still be freaking friends. Freaking friends. Freaking friends. Till we come to bed. We're freaking friends.
Trent is one of those guys that's sexy only in theory, and one thing I really like about the show is that it recognizes that while there is a certain allure to guys like Trent, he's not the kind of guy you really want to settle down with.
Oh, Trent, whatever happened to the man I married?
We never got married, remember? I overslept.
Thank you, show. And we will still be freaking friends.
It's raining men! Hallelujah!
Number 6. I remember seeing B.D. Wong on the Rosie O'Donnell show promoting Mulan and being oddly proud that his character Li Shang was the first Disney guy that had nipples. Not sure if that's true. BD, I think you'll be gratified to know the ladies noticed too.
Mr. I'll make a man out of you.
If Goliath is super manly and Eric is young and friendly and accessible. Shang meets the two somewhere in the middle. But just because we like our guys tortured with a tragic backstory doesn't mean we're not allowed a little bit of shallow indulgence. Yeah, this scene.
Let's get down to business to defeat the Huns.
Li Shang is a competent military leader, but this is also his first assignment, so while he is intimidating to Mulan, he's still on a learning curve of his own, which makes us relate to him. Though I do love this little bit where after he's been weirdly attracted to this little lady boy, and he finds out that she's been lying and was a woman the whole time and broke the law and must be put to death, there's like this touch of relief on his face. Phew, still straight. For a man raised in a society where men and women have very set places, it's nice to see that he actually gets over his culturally imposed prejudice. At the end of the movie, he knows what Mulan is really like, and he still comes a-knockin'.
You forgot your helmet. Well, actually...
Oh, he likes her for who she is. But let's be honest.
Let's get down to business!
Number 5. So here's a guy, goes to a lot of proms, one must assume, and he lives in the bottom of the opera where he put a boomerang in his hat and turned an old Pasadena cat lady glasses into a mask. I deduced that he saved the day a lot. I may not speak Japanese, but I think I'm starting to get it. Okay, people who beg me to review Sailor Moon, I honestly know nothing about this series, nor do I particularly care, so I think I'm gonna have to outsource this one. Jesu Otaku.
I can see the obituary now. Cause of death, Digimon Tamers. Swear to God, this retrospective has been going on for 3 months.
Can you explain to me the appeal of this guy?
Tuxedo Mask? Well, he's a superhero that protects Sailor Moon and the Sailor Scouts when they're in trouble. He's a well-dressed, self-sacrificial archetype who's sexualized a lot more than your standard Disney prince, so yeah, I can see why he'd be a big nostalgic man crush.
Seems a little bit simplistic for our lot. Is he like tortured or a bad boy or...
Well, I think the thing most fangirls remember is the whole Prince Darien arc, where he was brainwashed and turned evil, and his hair was all tousled, and he had a cape, and he threw black roses, and Sailor Moon had to save him from being evil, so... I guess that might fit your archetype, huh?
Oh.
Evil is sexy, what can I say?
There you go. Anime. It exists, I guess.
It's raining men. Hallelujah.
Number 4. What do we like more than a big masculine crusader for justice? A project.
She's so beautiful, and well, look at me!
Women like bad boys. Bad boys with hearts of gold that they can bring out. Basically, we're all adult children of alcoholics and we want to change you. That said, this aspect does not go unnoticed by the Young Beast fans. The Beast could have been split into 2 categories, as some people voted specifically for this Beast and some specifically for this Beast. But a tortured bad boy with a heart of gold ain't worth much unless he's got something else to offer. In the Beast's case...
You like it?
It's wonderful.
Then it's yours.
Cool! Next I'll take a yacht, and a pet cheetah, and some helicopter lessons, and... well, you want me to be happy, don't you? The Beast. You can change him.
It's raining men. Hallelujah.
Number 3. Redeeming bad boys and tortured backstories all notwithstanding, here is one that actually kind of makes sense in regard to the word sexy.
The name is Gambit. Remember it.
Thief, womanizer, ladies' man. You don't even notice that his eyes are red and black, or that his suit, in the cartoon anyway, is bright-ass pink.
I like solitaire, okay? Unless I got someone to play with.
Gambit's got it going on, both as a supporting player and when the story focuses on him. Though more often than not, those stories tend to be about how he has a hard time staying attached to a group and wants to wander off and abandon you and do his own tortured backstory thing, which, oh my god, so hot.
Don't you ever get tired of listening to yourself?
Not when I'm talking about you, Cher.
Even Gambit's accent is hot. Remarkable considering a Cajun accent isn't usually considered a plus.
Okay, so we don't ski much on the bayou.
I'm a Cajun, bro. Born and bred in the bayou.
Damn it.
It's raining men. Hallelujah.
Number 2. This one surprised me.
Now, how did you get in here?
I guess it doesn't surprise me that people voted for the guy, but it does surprise me that he landed this high. Let me be blunt. Anastasia was one of the very first reviews I did, and while at the time I was still very steeply in the internet reviewer learning curve, and I'm not wild about that review at all, I did, and still do, very deeply despise this movie. Remember the Disney's Anne Frank joke from the Least Awful Disney Sequel review? Really, out of all movies, it resembles Anastasia the most, which is a Disney knockoff. Let's take a tortured, bloody history and make an animated musical and give it a necromantic bad guy and make the whole Russian Revolution his fault, and also this girl who was shot in the f***ing head lived. Okay, they didn't know about that absolutely conclusively till the early 2000s, and this was based on more than the 1950s movie, but still. So with all the half-assedness in all aspects of that movie, the same definitely applies to Dmitri, the con artist with a heart of gold.
This isn't about the merits of Anastasia.
To me it is.
No, this is about little girls thinking Dmitri is hot. And yes, I did. The floppy brown hair, the face, the snarkalicious voice, the moment he goes from, oh, gotta train this girl, yeah, whatever, to, wow, I love her, to, holy shit, I'm no good for her and I gotta do what's best. He's an asshole, but if you can hold your own against him in a prickly 1940s screwball comedy snarkfest like Anya does, then you'll have him wrapped around your little finger.
It's because he looked like Thomas from Pocahontas, isn't it?
He was a ginger and he had the fluffy hat and he was so young and whoopee-ish and I just wanted to cut into his cheeks and hug him, but he also had that man crush on like John Smith and his name was Thomas and he was voiced by Christian Bale and he was just so cute and he was a whoopee and everyone hated him and I just wanted to hug him and I have a problem, okay? I don't judge you for your sexual awakening, do I? Do I? It's raining men. Hallelujah.
Number 1. Oh, who am I kidding? Way before I knew that little girls and little boys had different dirty bits, I loved Aladdin.
Gotta keep one jump ahead of the breadline, one swing ahead of the sword.
I loved how perky and accessible he was. I loved that he looked like fun to have adventures with, that he was always dragging you into a whole new world, away from your palace, into trouble, but you always got out of it. What I'm saying is, I get the Aladdin thing. I was there. Street rat, bad boy, a diamond in the rough. He's got it all. Not only that, but the film goes to very great lengths to make him and Jasmine feel as whole and well-developed as the time allows. Aladdin, like the other dudes on this list, is flawed. Maybe not as tortured and broody as some, but he's, just the right amount. Not so light and frothy as to be boring, but got a sad enough situation to warrant some coddling. Aladdin, he wants you to trust him.
Do you trust me?
Even though he may not quite deserve it. So, there you go. Especially with that top 5, it's pretty easy to pick out a pattern. In the top 5 alone, we've got a thief, a con artist, a thief/womanizer, an abusive literal fucking monster, and nice glasses. Even as little girls, women are more interested in personality. Someone that you could have adventures with, someone that you could have conversations with and work with, someone you could change with your love, someone who might rip you into pieces, someone to blackmail you sexually. Right, Goliath?
Yes,
or Thomas from Pocahontas.
So what if he would have died during the starving time? Wait, what the hell is this?
That's not mine.
Is that Batty from Ferngully?
No, some fan artist drew that I'm not gonna credit. Like,
wait a minute. Are you saying that this was your
He was damaged! He was in the war, they experimented on him, and he's a tortured backstory, and it was all like really sad, and then he came back, and he was like being depressed by
and he had the radio chip in his head.
And he was like, of course,
to defeat the Huns. Ha!